It's been a couple of years since I started my fighting game journey, and the climb has been tough, it has been treacherous, but very enjoyable. And I will be ever striving to reach the mountaintop where all the Olympic gods of fighting games stand, even if I'm very far away from that spot at this point of time. But over this time, I've grown a lot when it comes to fighting games. I have improved a lot, but I've also have the pleasure of coaching some people, five I can name on the top of my head, and watching them improve, which has been wonderful, a wonderful feeling to give something to those around you. And I've wanted to make this video for a very, very long time, but I've always been busy, or I just didn't feel like it, or I've never had the time. And it's a video about the thing that I believe has contributed the most to my growth as a fighting game player, and that's sparring partners. Now, of course, the simple act of having a sparring partner won't make you a god at fighting games or something like that, nor will they kick off your growth. That's for better than new players to do. And you still need to put in work, you still need to go to training mode, you still need to study matchups, you still need to develop strategy, you still need to actively play the game against all sorts of people if you want to get better. But a sparring partner does a lot of amazing things for you, and I would love to explore those in today's video. Now, my growth is a product of guys like Shady, Dimcho, Alastrocious, some really cool dudes that you might have seen if you've watched my videos. But one of the major contributors is who I consider my sparring partner and a star that I've kept farming for content, my boy Jaeger. But how exactly does a sparring partner help you improve at a fighting game? One of the greatest benefits to having a sparring partner, in my humble opinion, is that they help put you in the right mental state to be playing the fighting game, to be growing and learning, and that is the state of play. Because as most other animals on the earth we walk, we learn by playing, we learn by having fun. And the thing about the environment where you're going up against random people, whether it be in ranked or in some casual room, is that it can be very stressful. It's very easy to be antagonistic against them, to feel like they're cheesing you or they're not that good and they're just winning by pure luck or stuff like that. Whereas when you go up against your sparring partner who you know, who you respect, it's very hard for you to be antagonistic, and you're forced to focus on what you're doing, to see what mistakes you make, to see where they're being better than you, what they're good at. And in general, it's very easy to have fun because it's not a stressful environment. And having fun means you are in a state of play, and being in a state of play means you're actively learning and improving. Another absolutely wonderful thing about sparring partner is that they offer a lot of resistance, but in a very different manner than, say, a random game in rank does. And what I mean by that is when we practice something in training mode, let's say you find the sickest punish to some move, and you practice doing it in training mode, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you get really good at it. And then you hop on one, and you cannot do it to save your life. It's so hard for some damn reason. And that is because in training mode, the NPC that's sitting there is a punching bag. It doesn't resist. It will let you do what you want to do. And a person you play on ranked, they are a bloody animal. They are trying to kill you. And that's a lot of resistance. They won't let you try to do what you learned. The thing about a sparring partner is, yes, they're still kind of out there to kill you. They are still putting up a lot of resistance. You are familiar, you know their moves, their tactics, their strategies. It's hard for them to surprise you. It's hard to find yourself in a situation that you don't find comfortable. And this means that there is resistance, but it's a lot easier to focus on what you're doing, and a lot more easier to try the things that you've been practicing and you've been learning because the environment allows it. Now, my absolute favorite thing about having a sparring partner is the little tug of war you play with them. And what I mean by that is when you are playing the game and you're learning and you're practicing and you're getting better and better and better, you obviously by being better start to win more because you have an edge, you have an advantage over your sparring partner. But because you play so often with them and the gap between the skill levels is so tiny because you simply just have a little bit of an edge, a little bit of an advantage, they have a chance to learn what you have changed really quickly. They have a chance to really adapt and learn themselves what you have acquired. And suddenly you're once again on the same skill level and you're not winning, 7 out of 3 games. Now it's back to 5-5 every set. And reversely, when they get better, when they've done their studying and they've found out some insane strategy or something that improves their gameplay, they start beating you. But because the gap between the skill level is so tiny, you have a chance to quickly catch up with them and improve, jumping that gap, getting that edge, adding it to your own arsenal, and suddenly you're slightly better than you have been before. And this will keep happening and happening and happening, and that's why I say a sparring partner is really good for maintaining your growth and maintaining a constant level of challenge, because it doesn't matter how much you improve, they're going to very quickly be able to improve just as much as you and match your new skill level. And no matter how quickly they get better, you are always going to be able to acquire the same skills that they have and catch right back up, constantly moving forward, even if it's at a slow pace. Now, another absolutely magnificent thing about a sparring partner is that they encourage discussion. They encourage you to look back at the games, to reflect on what you've been doing, and to apply some critical thinking to your strategies, to your game plans, to your tactics, to your decision making. And they do this by simply, well, if you're close to that person, then perhaps you talk a lot. Maybe it's a voice chat, maybe you're just typing out, right? But the thing about this is that you're communicating and you're constantly able to discuss stuff like, oh, I didn't know that this is a thing, how do I beat this? Or, oh, no, this is actually a good situation for me and you should maybe not do that. And with this new knowledge, they may come up with something else, and then you're put into another situation where, I guess I never considered that. What can I do here? And it's just this constant exchange and flow of information that really gets you into that state of analyzing and thinking critically about what you're doing and what you can do better. Now, just like with everything in life, there are pros and cons, and there are obviously a lot of not so good things about playing a sparring partner, and there will always be. And the only one that I want to point out, because I find that it's important, is the fact that this familiarity that has been such an advantage to learning is also a detriment to your abilities to actually play well. And what I'm talking about is, for example, Jaeger, he plays Kai, and I've played his Kai a lot. Jaeger Kai is probably my most played matchup in this game, that is Guilty Gear Strive. And so when I go and play a Kai online, regardless of their skill level, I find myself sometimes surprised or having to spend a lot of time adjusting, because I'm so used to what Jaeger does that when someone doesn't do what he does, I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this guy doing? How the hell am I supposed to play against this? So there is this moment where you have to readjust your brain, because you're expecting something but it wouldn't come because you're not playing Jaeger Kai, you're playing random Stanley Stundipper over there who is doing some wacky ass shit that you're just not ready for. And that's probably the main detriment, but it's not something that it's impossible to get over. It's just that if you're actively competing, playing tournaments, you may find those few first games that you really need to win, but you kind of lose because you need to adapt, because you're so used to Jaeger Kai and not Stanley Stundipper. it, it might be something that you would need to look out for. But with this little discussion out of the way, I hope that you found this informative. I hope that I've changed your mind about some things. And the only question remaining to be answered is, well, how do I find a sparring partner, or what is a good sparring partner? And finding a sparring partner is, bro, just go online, play, find someone that you find cool or that you think you can learn from and message them. It's not that hard check their Steam profile and be like, hey yo, can I add you as friends? I'd like to play more and stuff like that. It's not hard. As to what makes a good sparring partner, it's ideally someone who is just at your skill level or slightly better or slightly worse. Because if they're a lot worse, then you're not really able to learn from them as much. It's still good practice, but they are the ones doing the learning and not you. And if there's someone that's a lot better, well, yes, you're going to learn a lot, you're going to improve a lot, but they won't be able to provide you with these specific benefits that I've been talking about this video. But yeah, that's all from me, folks. I hope you enjoyed, and many more years to playing fighting games and improving. See you in the next one, whenever that is.